Welcome to the Explainer. When you hear the word science, what pops into your head? Probably a lab, maybe some complicated math, white coats. But what if I told you it's something much, much bigger than that? What if it's actually an adventure, one you're already on every single day? Let's dive into that.
See, it all starts with something that is just fundamentally human, our curiosity. From the moment we're born, we're basically wired to look at the world around us and not just see it, but wonder about it. It's this deep primal instinct to figure things out.
I mean, we've all done this, right? You're looking up at this huge, dark sky, feeling kind of small, and you just start asking these big, epic questions. That exact feeling, that wonder, that's what drove the very first astronomers to start mapping the heavens.
Or, hey, maybe it's not some grand cosmic question. Maybe it's something much smaller, right in your own backyard. How does a flower know when it's time to bloom? These aren't just random thoughts, They are the actual sparks that get the whole engine of discovery started. Okay, so how do we take that curiosity, that sense of wonder, and actually start to unravel these mysteries? Well, like any great expedition, you need a guide, a map to make sense of the unknown. And for us, that guide is science.
And I want you to really look at this definition. It doesn't say science is a bunch of facts in a book. It says it's a way of thinking. It's an active process. It's a verb, something you do to systematically figure out the world.
So, if science is the adventure, what's the fuel? What gets it going? At its heart, it isn't fancy equipment or a huge budget. Nope, it's that same spark we started with, plain old curiosity. That is the true engine of every single discovery ever made. So where does this adventure happen? The cliché, of course, is a laboratory with bubbling beakers and strange machines. But the reality? Oh, it's so much bigger than that. The lab for science is, quite literally, everywhere.
You can find science in the geology of these incredible mountains, reading the epic stories of our planet written right there in the layers of rock.
And you can find it in the middle of a huge empty desert, studying how life, against all odds, finds a way to thrive in some of the harshest conditions you can imagine.
The adventure takes us deep, deep down into the ocean, into these bizarre worlds where we're still finding brand new creatures that live without any sunlight at all. It's wild.
And of course, it stretches out into the mind-blowing vastness of space, where we can look so far away that we're actually looking back in time. So yeah, from the tiniest microbe to the biggest galaxy, science is absolutely everywhere.
A great way to think about all this is to picture a giant, unending jigsaw puzzle. Every new discovery is like finding a new piece and snapping it into place. But here's the cool part. Every piece you add doesn't just fill in the picture, it actually shows you a more complicated edge, revealing just how much more of the puzzle is left to solve. So, how do we find those puzzle pieces and make sure they fit right? Well, every explorer needs a toolkit, right? For a scientist, that toolkit is the scientific method. It's basically a reliable system for turning curiosity into real answers.
And at its core, it's a really simple but powerful loop. Let's say you observe that your houseplant is drooping. You question why. You guess or, form a hypothesis that it needs more sun. So you test that idea by moving it to a sunny window. And then you analyze what happens. If the plant perks up, well, your guess was probably right. It's this beautiful, structured way of learning.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. What if I told you you already use this method? All the time, probably every single day, and you don't even realize you're doing it. This is where it gets really cool.
I mean it. Just think for a second about the last time something didn't work the way it was supposed to. Any little, everyday problem that made you stop and try to figure it out.
Maybe your Wi-Fi suddenly drops, or a recipe you're trying just fails. A light bulb won't turn on. In those moments when you stop and go, what's the deal here? You are literally thinking just like a scientist.
Let's just use that pen example. Observation, the pen's not writing. Question, why not? Guess, it's probably out of ink. Test, you unscrew the pen and look at the ink cartridge. See, that is the scientific method right there in miniature. It's not some weird process for academics. It's just a logical way we all solve problems.
So, the takeaway here is huge. You do not need a PhD or a fancy lab to think like a scientist. A chef trying a new ingredient, a gardener figuring out why their tomatoes aren't growing, a mechanic listening to a weird engine noise, anyone who uses curiosity to solve a problem is practicing science. And so we want to leave you with this sort of invitation. The world is just packed with mysteries and puzzles, big and small. From the biggest questions about the universe to the little problems in your own life.
They're all just waiting to be explored by a curious mind.
So keep that adventurous spirit going. Keep looking at the world around you. Keep asking questions, and never, ever stop exploring. Because that's the real heart of science. It all just boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful word: why?